Hello and welcome to the Build-A-Bear Workshop. My name is Baer. I'm here to build a Lego set and to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the tier 2 blue emote into chat. If you are currently a subscriber, reply with those emotes. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you want to be a lurker, it's okay to lurk. I should also say that we need to throw the Bear Cave Lego site, the tier 2 blue emote in the chat, and thank Harold and Ghost Valve because both of them resubbed during the beginning of this stream before I got here on mic. And also, thank you, Harold, for the 100 bits. Cha-ching. Appreciate that very much. Harold has subscribed for 71 months on a 69-month streak, saying, I have a nice streak, which is true. And Ghost Valve has subscribed to Tier 1 for 29 months, saying almost a year, which is wrong. That's just wrong. Even if you, yeah, that's just completely wrong and weird. That's just off and wrong. But I appreciate it. Thank you for the 29 months. Someday you'll reach a year. And hello to everybody that's here. Ghost Valve again, Lashbrook, Aristofan. Welcome, everybody. It's a Thursday night. I'm starting a new Lego set, the Space Shuttle 3-in-1. We're going to build a space shuttle, a spaceship, like an alien spaceship, and a big astronaut planting the flag, claiming dominance over a planet of some sort. We're going to build all those things. It's going to be cool as hell. It's going to be fun. What's up with me? I got the weird energy. I had a long day of doing stuff I'm not happy to do, but is necessary to continue to exist. So I did a bunch of bullshit that I didn't want to do, and it was long, and it was stressful. As many of you know, and I'm going to retweet my tweet, and we'll get in the overhead and start talking about this kit. As many of you know, I make some amount of money doing data entry for a company. And let's see, overhead is here. There we go. So let's get started with this kit. I do data entry. And sometimes it's very easy. Sometimes it's updating entries. I don't do a lot of like spreadsheets. I do a lot of decks, PowerPoint and the like, Google Docs, stuff like that, or Google Sheets, stuff like that. I do a lot of creation in there. Taking in information from one place, putting it in another, trying to make things look good. And a lot of it is because I have been working for this company for many years, I get updates to projects, right? It'll be like, oh, I already did this before. They like the doc, they like the information, but it's got to say 2023 in it. It's got to say, November 2023, and this data needs to be updated here, here, and here. Knock it out, no problem. When I run into some issues is when it is information that it's new, like a new client. Hey, Lord Crashton, welcome. Because then I'm starting from scratch. They might have like a raw outline of their deck and what they would like it to say. But sometimes they just want it to be created whole cloth. And then they want to approve it, and then you make changes. And that's fine. And I get paid per project, but I do get paid for updates that are not from my fault, right? So they will pay me a set rate for completing a project based on their, their calculations of how long a project like that should take and all that. And then if there are unnecessary changes made, like, we really don't like this, this, and this, then they have a negotiated fee. And I get a cut of that negotiated fee, which is great. But sometimes I fuck up because I'm a human being and I am fallible. And then I gotta make those right on my own. And of course I do. And one of the reasons why I continue working for this company, why they continue to hire me to do these projects, is because I am like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I messed that up. I'll fix it. And I get that shit done fast. The only times I don't get it fast are when they like email me and I am asleep. Because sometimes I'll get something at 7 a.m. and they're like, hey, we would love this as soon as possible. And I wake up at 10 a.m. and I'm like, oh, hey, I'll get to this to you within the hour. Because I'm not, if my phone makes a vibration letting me know I got an email, I am not getting up for emails. That is just not happening for me. They do not pay me enough for that shit. But anyway, I screwed up on a project, is what I'm trying to say, because it involved my least favorite thing in the world when it comes to that gig, which is, of course, doctor's terminology, acronyms specifically, like acronyms for very specific weird things that are very difficult to look up on the internet to double check your work, and you kind of just have to go on what they're saying. But like, even if I wrote it down in a Google Doc, it would all come up like red under squiggly lines, like, what is this? What are you trying to say? Like, it doesn't look right. And that is always frustrating because that is something that I am likely to just fuck up. We started with the space shuttle, by the way. I guess I should have said that. We're starting with the space shuttle because, I don't know, it's the biggest of the three and looks cool. Why not do that? This one, my $10 patrons got to vote on what I built next. This is from my backlog. And had this for a little while. I have another Lego set that is not this, but is another 3-in-1 that is like some motorcycles that is cool. And then I have some other stuff out there to build as well that are more model kits, of course. Before we get any further into the stream, I just wanted to vent. My brain is a little wired from that stuff. We do need to talk about the continued downfall of the social media platform Twitter, also known as X. So, let's say that you want to share a link. You want to share a link in Twitter, right? You got a news article, right? You got a Polygon.com article. You got a Kotaku, CNN.com, the BBC. And you're like, I want to share a link to that. Now, normally you put the link in there. It generates the headline, like the top of it, and then like an image of it. You can quickly scroll and you go, oh, there's an article. Let me check that out. And the shorthand was, you don't have to summarize. You don't have to copy paste the title of the article. You can just put the link. Now, apparently, Elon Musk has said, we're getting rid of that. We're getting rid of that. Now it's just going to be a image, of the image article image, and then no link. The actual physical link won't be there. Can I share a Zelda? Yeah, maybe you want an article about Zelda from NintendoNews.com or whatever. You could do that. But instead, you're going to have, and I know, Harold, you were making a joke. Also, hi, Harold. You were making a joke. Can't share a link. You can share Zelda. I know. I get it. I understood the joke as I was trying to continue talking. I did understand the joke that you were making. I railroaded you, but I did understand the joke. So now it's just an image from the article, and in the corner it will say that it's a link. Like it'll type out the address of like the link, not the full link, but like Forbes.com. And apparently, according to Elon, and talking about this leading up, he doesn't like links. Now, there's two reasons he doesn't like links. The one that he gave, which is clearly bullshit, is aesthetically it's not pleasing. It's not pleasing to see that all those characters in that line, and that, you know, people don't like it as they're scrolling through either on their phone or their computer. They just don't enjoy looking at it, which is bullshit. Because there's no way in hell that this man has any idea about what is appealing or any thoughts in his head when it comes to aesthetics. The preview stuff was nice, Lord Crashton did, because it gave you a fucking preview of things. That's fun. No, Elon also said he doesn't want people to link away from Twitter. He thinks that people should post whatever they want to post. Post it on Twitter. And of course, if you pay for Twitter Blue or X Premium, you can post more words or just start a thread. Why are you linking to some other site when you could just do it there? And he's like, well, we make it so that links don't do as well because we want to encourage you to not. And it's like, motherfucker, no one's clicking on your ads. This isn't going to boost, like, the thing you're doing. If you're, anytime, somebody makes it harder to use a service, it decreases the likelihood they will continue to use that service. So if one of the reasons why you have stuck with Twitter after all this time is because it is a way to share news sources, because you don't just keep on CNN.com all day, but if someone, like, or you follow reporters, or you follow people that follow reporters, and you see a headline while you're scrolling and you're like, oh shit, that happened? Fuck, I realize now I don't know enough about Azerbaijan and Armenia. Fuck, I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. Oh shit. All right, I'm gonna like click on this link and go see what's going on. But now you're just gonna say, you're just gonna see a photo of some war-torn country with no context, because people are still in the habit of just sharing links without, and now they're going to have to give context to those links. And that slows down the process of sharing information. Lastberg says the actual links usually are, the actual reason is links usually say mean things about him. Yes. I was going to get to that. Do we think that, and I do believe, that part of it is an article that Miles Klee wrote for Rolling Stone. This is, of course, a opinion piece in Rolling Stone, where he just says, it only took a year for Elon Musk to kill Twitter, is the headline. Maybe he didn't want to see those headlines on Twitter. Since Tech Tycoon took over platform last October, he's done everything he can to run it into the ground. Maybe Elon did not want people to see that. It's possible. At least people are protesting by using them to act like links are articles making wild claims about Elon. Yes. So instead, people are just like, oh, did you see this article about Elon Musk? And it's not what they are claiming. And the way to fact check that would, of course, to be have it so there was a preview of it. But yeah, I mean, the big thing is, and it makes sense, is, well, we don't want people leaving Twitter. And here's the thing. Yeah, you don't. But they come back. It's not like people see a link to something and go, well, I am done with Twitter now. Now that I have a link to Kotaku.com about something that happened, someone has shared a link to me to Cultaholic.com about a wrestling thing. I will now click on the link and find out what Christian's response to Adam Copeland was at the end of Dynamite that people are memeing. I will now go and read this article. Well, now that I've read this article, there is no reason for me to ever return to Twitter.com. That's not happening. People go back to it. Now, if you could make it a website that people want to go back to, that would be great. It is a small thing. I will say this when we're talking about tech nonsense. The jack that people don't talk about enough, in my opinion, as one of the bad tech jacks, because we all know about the bad jacks. We don't often talk about the bad jack that is the CEO of Patreon. The Patreon jack doesn't get enough hate, and he deserves it. Now, you might know Jack better as the annoying guy from the annoying cover band Pamplemousse, or Pamplemousse. I've never learned how to say the name because it's not a name that means anything. But you may know him as the annoying keyboard / bass guy whose wife is the talented one, and he's not at all. He also is he's the CEO and co-founder of Patreon. And they're trying to make Patreon more than just a place that collects money for goods and services. Well, for services. They're trying to make it a place that acts for goods and services, like free tiers and building up the stores through Patreon so you can sell your own music through Patreon and not go through another service that people would want to use instead of Patreon. You may remember that they've redesigned their site so many times, and one of the ways they redesigned it recently was to make it more annoying to just post your YouTube links, because they want you to upload to Patreon your video. And that would make sense if me, your friend Pat, if I was consistently making videos that were just for patrons, which I do once a month. But if I was doing that more than that, maybe I would want to upload to Patreon. But instead, I want everyone to watch it, so I upload it to YouTube and link it. It used to be that primarily they would want you to just hit the button to upload, a YouTube link. And now they're like, hey, upload your video, and then really small below it, or embed a video link. And it's like, no, come on, switch that up. I don't consider Patreon as a upload platform. I don't think it's a storefront. They want to put chat rooms and all kinds of other shit, and it's like, fuck off. Just make it easy for me as a content creator, which is a term I do not like to use, but is in this case is an accurate one. As a creator, get rid of the content part. As someone who creates things, make it easy for me to put those things on your website. And also, stop fucking up with my payments, because every 4 or 5 months, you just fuck up with payments. You changed bank locations to save money on taxes and didn't do it properly, and then 18% of creators on Patreon didn't get paid properly on more than one occasion. It's fucking Patreon. And his fucking announcement video is set up like a goddamn TikTok with like jump cuts and like illustrations, and it's all cutesy, and it fucking sucks because you're the CEO of a goddamn company. Ugh, hate that Jack. It's incredibly frustrating that I am... Twitch.com should not be the best case scenario of how companies that exist to make money off of my labor, Twitch is the best of them, and that sucks. Twitch is the high bar. And look, I wish that I was in a position. If I were Patreon, I wouldn't want to pay hosting fees. Yeah, video hosting fees, of course, yeah. Though, yeah, Lord Crashing, that's what I'm saying. It's such a low bar to clear to be better than Twitch. But, like, Twitch pays on time. Twitch doesn't fuck around. You get fucking paid. Now, did they change how some people got paid? Yes. Is it shitty how they tried to push ads in ways that are not something that you can come back from in many cases and suck shit? Yes, of course. Twitch sucks. But at least it pays regularly and is transparent on how it pays, and occasionally does things that both help users and streamers. I have been asked this before. I have asked myself this before. Pat, why have you not gotten away from Patreon? When Patreon started really putting the squeeze on risque content creators, not even like adult content creators, just like bikini picture content creators, tease content creators, when they start putting the squeeze on them, when they've changed things unilaterally without talking to anyone about it, when they've made calculations on their part on what they think creators need based on the experience of one man who's also the CEO and is part of a successful Patreon, a wildly successful Patreon that is not part of the norm in any way, shape, or form. Why haven't you left, Pat? Why haven't you gone to Ko-Fi? Because Ko-Fi allows people to subscribe on a monthly basis, and you can do all that stuff. And they already set up a store, but it's like easy to use, and like they're just trying to be a place for people to post messages and collect monies. is a tip service. But they've only expanded into other ways to tip. Why haven't you just moved to coffee? And the honest answer in my case is this. I cannot afford to lose the amount of people I would lose if I moved service. Because there are people out there. Oh, can I say this part? Yeah, I'm going to say this part. I benefit from laziness. I benefit from some people's laziness. That they like what I do, but they don't keep track of what I'm up to. And they have kind of written off that every month they give me $1, $3, $5, or $10 to keep doing what I'm doing. But they don't check in as much. They haven't watched as much as they used to. And at the first of the month, because most people signed up for the rolling, even though they have rolling, my numbers haven't increased dramatically enough to take into account rolling as like a good portion of my income. So the first of the month comes and they go, oh yeah, I follow a few people on Patreon. Okay, whatever. I should probably cancel that before the end of the month. And then they don't, because they got to log into Patreon. I benefit from that. And I will be honest about that with you, that I benefit from a certain amount of people who are fine giving me some amount of money because I haven't grown to hate me or become disinterested in what I do. That they're okay right now with, on occasion, not being pissed off when an amount of money that is fairly small on a monthly basis goes to me out of their bank account, and they're pretty okay with that. But if I'm like, I am opening up coffee, it gives all the benefits of this, and it is easier, and you don't have to worry about it, and it's for my needs, it's actually a better percentage, and you can hit reoccurring, and you can do this, and I send out posts, and you do all this stuff, and it's just like Patreon. Maybe I have to run polls somewhere else. I can't remember if they have polls there, but I would just run polls in like a Google form, and it'd be a little more annoying. But other than that, pretty much the same. I could just do that. But I, right now, cannot afford to make up for the same people, a lot of the same people who are like, yeah, well, whatever. Those folks probably aren't going to be like, oh, shit, Pat shut that down, and he's on coffee. I got to create a coffee account so I can support Pat. My fear is there's just too many people out there who would be like, maybe next month I'll do that. I've been thinking about getting rid of Patreon altogether. I just can't risk it. I just don't make enough money in other things to make up for that loss that would come in assuredly. That assured loss that would come in, and I would just not have as much money for model kits that month, those couple months. Now, would there be people who don't want to use Patreon anymore, that don't want to use Twitch? Those people are out there, I'm sure. And I'm sure I could convince some of those people that are like, yeah, I'm already on Coffee. I'm already on the Ko-Fi. I could just pop in and do a monthly. Sure, that sounds fun. I just am not in a place where I can take that risk right now. So I don't take that risk. There will come a time where Patreon is so fucking busted that I will have to quit Patreon. In the same way that my primary way of getting people interested in coming to see what I do is still Twitter, even though Twitter fucking sucks. I still post 3 times a day of a stream. I still post 4 times. Noon announcement, 3 p.m. announcement that goes to my other socials, 7 p.m. reminder, 9 p.m. stream. I post 4 times on Twitter about my streams that night because that's the bet that I've seen the numbers. My biggest numbers come from the folks that know when I stream and just show up on the website. My second biggest numbers come from Twitter. My third biggest numbers come from the category models and crafting. because people look to see who's building model kits and doing crafting work, and they come and check it out, which rules. If you're one of those people, welcome. This is fucking fun. And I don't rant all the time. I rant a lot, but not all the time. But yeah, that's what it is. And then way lower than that, almost microscopic, is people clicking on my VODs and getting a link here, or people clicking on other non-listed social media sites to get here. Sorry, I need to drink a little water there. That rant, I knew it was coming. I was aware that that was going to be a rant there. Anyway, it all sucks. Speaking of sucks, the ending of Attack on Titan, the manga Attack on Titan, the ending of that manga, some people really fucking hate. Have a good night, Harold. Lord Crashing wants me to dance, and I will dance. Here we go. I'm going to dance. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Attack on Titan is getting a bonus manga chapter 2.5 years after. And it's so fucking funny to me that people are like, maybe this will fix the ending. It won't. There's no way it will, because I don't think the mangaka thinks the ending is bad. Basically, it's not. That's not what this is. That doesn't happen. You don't get epilogues to try to piece together what went wrong with the manga. Sometimes you do, but most of the time you don't. This is an art book that's coming out. And the art book is going to have 18 pages of manga in it. It's an art book with a little bit of that, and the chapters there are to sell the art book to more people, because some people will go, well, maybe this will make sense of the nightmare that is Attack on Titan. It's also coming out after the anime, because if it came out before the anime concludes with the last special, the final season, part 3, part 2, if it came out like that, it might lead to less views of that episode, because people will be frustrated with it. So it's coming out after. That's my instinct. I don't have any, deep information on that. I believe I'm building a satellite right now. I'm pretty sure that's what this is that I'm building here, which is cool. Something to go in the shuttle, I believe I am currently working on. Let's see. We are now releasing a color art book. I'm currently writing a new manga for the art book. This is bonus manga included in the bonus Attack on Titan volume 35. I'm looking forward to it. But a lot of people were like, well, maybe it'll change the ending. And it's just like, nah. Also, I do want to remind you about this thing, the upcoming Anime NYC. The publisher, Kodasha, was like, hey, please be nice. And they were. The crowd was nice. But they were like, because they know how volatile some Attack on Titan fans were upset with the endings, they were afraid that that American fans would boo the shit out of him. And I was like, nah, those people aren't going to come out to boo. They were going to come out to be weird about it, but in a positive weird. So this is all coming out next year. So we have, so basically what's going to happen is the final chapters, part 2, which is, of course, Attack on Titan in the final season, part 3, part 2, comes out on November 4th. And then sometime next year, months from now, the manga will come out. And so Attack on Titan fans will have from being disappointed at the end of the anime to being disappointed by this new edition, which is very fun. It's a good time. In lighter news, this is a good joke. I'm gonna peel about this transition that I just made. In lighter news, this is a good joke. One Piece to make history with Luffy balloon at Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's right. You thought it was just for Goku? No. Stand aside, because the King of Pirates is going to be a fucking... Toei is doing more shit with Macy's, because Luffy's going to be a fucking balloon. And it's Chibi Luffy. It's like Kid Luffy with a big hat and a big fist. Like, it's goofball. It's not Gear 5th Luffy, which would have been wild. It's like... Basically, yeah, it's like Chibi Luffy. And it's great. It's a great looking, big old straw hat. It's great looking. And I got nothing negative to say about that. I think that rules. I love the idea. I love the idea that Al Roker is going to have to say facts about Luffy. He's going to say Monkey D. Luffy. Post Gear 3 Luffy, if you like, yeah. Yes, when Luffy was trying to get into gears, and then he deflated because he couldn't do it, and then eventually they were like, he figured out how to do it and be okay afterwards. Yes, when you get really teeny tiny, it's that kind of thing. It looks very cute. I think that's very fun. If Luffy is a Marcus or Dom fan, yeah. But Al Roker is just going to try to say facts. He's going to say weird... Someone is going to say Luffy. Someone is going to say Luffy's name wrong. And it's going to be very funny. And somebody might also wonder if he's related to Goku. Because they'd be like, it's more of that anime shit, right? So is he also a Goku? That was in 2018 that Goku was there. Oh, man. They're going to say the Gum Gum Fruit. Someone's going to say the Gum Gum Fruit. Of course, they'll mention Netflix. I'm sure they'll mention Netflix. Because why wouldn't they fucking mention that? That's at least an easy way in to be like, oh, well, you may know him from the live-action Netflix series, but this is the anime version. He's a cartoon. His name is Monkey D. Luffy. He appears to be a human. Yeah. Yeah, no, I would say that they would say Luffy D. Monkey. That would be pretty funny if they said that. Luffy D. I'm being told it's Monkey D. Luffy. Okay. What's the D stand for? The will of D? Oh. What? Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Monkey D. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy. I forgot if his name was already reversed. Oh, yeah. I just love the idea of someone being like, you can watch it on Crunchyroll. There are over 1,000 episodes. Wait, what? Yeah. That was the lightest thing I could fucking talk about. In the second hour, we're going to come back to anime. We're going to move away from anime a bit here. We're going to jump over to another thing. Because I thought this was the satellite we were building. This is just the back of the shuttle. We'll get back to the anime because we got to talk about an ongoing series and then 2 new shows that I have checked out. And of course, one of them is a mech series that I thought the first episode of was pretty good. It was, yeah, or we'll talk about it when we get into it, but fuck yeah. It was pretty fucking good. And then we'll also talk about a show that I bet is okay, but holy fucking shit, what shooting themselves in the foot with one show. Instead, right now, let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk about some wrestling for the next 20 minutes or so. We'll start with this Saturday. There is a WWE pay-per-view called Fastlane. It's a B-tier pay-per-view. It's not that big. There's only 5 matches booked for the show. There might be more, but right now there's only going to be only 5 listed. And again, They could add more. We don't know. But we'll go through those matches. We'll talk a little bit about them. We'll get ready for for that. I won't be watching it live, and we'll probably talk about it on Monday because it'll be happening while I stream. We got the Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Damian Priest, who are the tag team champions, are defending their tag team championships against Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. That is a weird combination. I think that there will be shenanigans afoot in that match. Now, will there be purely shenanigans from, like, Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, who, why the fuck isn't Rhea wrestling on this show? She might end up wrestling on the show on SmackDown, maybe? I don't know. Maybe on SmackDown they'll set up a match. But it's weird that she's not wrestling on the show. But it's like, okay, well, on the one hand, Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, not really a tag team. On the other hand, Damian Priest is the Money in the Bank winner. So he's got the briefcase. He is, by his own admission, as a character choice, Senor Money in the Bank instead of Mr. Money in the Bank. Could he possibly say, you know, drop one belt so that he can go after the other? I don't know. This feels like it should be the Judgment Day. Right now, Judgment Day have a bunch of belts. I like that. I think WWE likes that. The Latino World Order versus an unnamed trio of Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. This has been an ongoing storyline where Bobby Lashley has been trying to motivate the Street Profits to be on his level, to bring them up a little bit, even though they're fantastic. And it's weird for Bobby to say that because they have been tag champions before and we're doing perfectly fine. But whatever, storyline, they're not hitting their full potential according to Bobby Lashley. So Bobby's like having some problems with them. Now, who will it be in the Latino World Order? Well, right now it's scheduled as Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and either Joaquin Wilde or Cruz del Toro. And that's interesting that they didn't pick which one it was going to be yet. I was wondering if it was going to be Santos or Rey with them, and I didn't know. It could be that this could end up being a 4-on-4, and we could have another person join. Zelina Vega will be around. Could we see real life wife of Montez Ford, Bianca Belair, come in and join? Could this be Jade? Could they be bumping Jade up to main roster immediately and have her join in with this faction? I don't think so, but that's a possibility. I don't particularly believe that to be the case. Could this be Santos's chance to turn on Rey Mysterio and quit the LWO and then feud with Rey for the United States Championship? In my opinion, yes. It's weird that Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, is not on this card. I find that strange. There's a bunch of people who are not on this card that I think is weird. But Gunther is certainly high on that list. But we do have Io Sky versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. And I fucking hate this about WWE. There are good things happening. The idea of Io Sky working a program with Asuka thrills me to no end. That shit rules. That is cool as fuck. And I'm psyched as hell about that. And I know that Asuka would put Io Sky over. That Asuka would take a pin for Io Sky, and it would mean the world to Io Sky, and wouldn't mean shit to Asuka. Wouldn't bat an eye about it. And that's how it would go. Except that Charlotte Flair is there, and you can't count out Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, WWE loves giving Charlotte Flair a belt. Any fucking time of day, they just love giving her a belt. And so I think that sucks, personally. I would prefer if they didn't give her a belt. But I am very much afraid that they will give her a belt. And Io Sky's very short-lived title run will be over. It just bums me out to think about it. I would love Charlotte to go away again. It would be great. But she's not. So we're currently stuck with it. All right, so then it's got to go on here. A clip on like that. No, it just goes like that. Okay. Figure this out. Apparently this shuttle, does this shuttle not have a... Oh, this shuttle does have doors that open and close. Okay. I was going to say. I was like, does this thing not have that? And this go like this? Yeah, it goes like that. Okay. So this is the satellite that comes out of there. This is pretty cool. It's got the arm. I think this little kit is detailed really well. I'm going to actually widen this out a little bit here. Just give it a little wider out. But I think this looks really neat. And I like that you can open up, take the satellite out that way. Now let's finish this off. This has been a pretty quick build. I'm going to have to do a poll again because I think that even taking things apart, we might finish the other one, but we're definitely going to finish 2 and 3 on, because even after knolling all this, it still won't take too long to wrap all this up. And then we'll be able to do it again on with the other builds for this kit. But of course, it will take some time to disassemble. Anyway, getting back to wrestling, John Cena and LA Knight versus the Bloodline, represented here by Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa with Paul Heyman. This to me feels like John Cena and LA Knight. I would not be surprised if LA Knight gets the pin. I think you go from here to LA Knight and John Cena having a mini respect feud. I think that could work and be great. It will further the storyline of Jimmy Uso just being weird in this new version of the Bloodline. Roman Reigns should be back after his break. And so it would make sense for him to come back and be mad about these losses that his faction are acquiring, and why are they just letting Jey Uso or just be out there doing whatever and not fucking beating his ass all the time, stuff like that. I think that's totally possible that's what transpires. Also, it'd be fucking dope as hell for LA Knight to have a big pay-per-view win like that with John Cena. Our main event, a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth freaking Rollins defending his title against Shinsuke Nakamura. I would love to tell you that I think that Nakamura has got this. That Seth's back issues are going to cost him, and he's not going to be able to handle the rigors of a last man standing match. That he will not be able to, once knocked down, get up at answer the count of 10. That he will just be busted as hell and not be able to continue in competing. I do not believe that to be the case. That does not feel like what is going to transpire. It feels like what is going to transpire is that Seth Rollins is going to pull it off. Now, the interesting thing, the thing I think might be very interesting as I complete this, and I'm going to take some photos. What if Seth retains his title against Shinsuke Nakamura, but at what cost? He barely got up for that double 10 count, and he won, and then, he's just battered and bruised and beat down. And that's a story of this champion, that he was pushed to the limit by Shinsuke Nakamura, because of course he was. And then the Judgment Day's music plays. The Judgment Day music is playing. Oh no. Oh God. What could this be? What's going to happen? And then everyone in Judgment Day comes out, beats Seth's ass. No one makes the save. Damian Priest cashes in. Damian Priest becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion. Cody Rhodes comes out a second too late to save the day. That is my pet theory of what is going to happen tomorrow night. That, or Saturday night, I should say. That Seth Rollins is going to be unable to pull off he'll pull off a title defense. He will not be able to escape with his title intact that night. And this is, I will say this, friends, if I was going to display this Lego set, I would 100% have built this last because this is great. We are going to move on to the next build by taking this apart and talking about some other wrestling. But this was really fun. This is a very simple, this 3-1. Like, yeah, the space shuttle, the space person, these are cool looking little builds. Don't get me wrong. These are fun little builds you can see here. But goddamn, this was just like a nice, easy, quick little assembly, top to bottom. It looks great. I fully recommend this 3-in-1, the Space Shuttle 3-in-1, because I think the Space Shuttle itself is just dope. They've done other space shuttles that are bigger, but I think this one was pretty great. So let's do ship next. So we're going to do the space shuttle, or the spaceship. But to do the spaceship, I have to completely null all of this. Got to take all this shit apart. And so we'll do that. Got to take every bit of it apart, and we'll separate it by color. I've got my patented brick separator for necessities, and we'll do that if required. But most of the time, most of this should be pretty easy to separate. Last night's Dynamite was pretty fucking fun. It was pretty jam-packed with some good shit. Technical issues abound. There was some DVR recordings happened earlier than they were supposed to for some people. TBS had multiple audio issues that really detracted, and they have actually, there was a video package that they ran back again. It ended with a promo, which is fairly atypical for AEW. They're not against doing it, but they usually end with matches. But the matches themselves also whipped fucking ass. So we'll talk a little bit about Dynamite because it was pretty goddamn banging. Let's see. We opened with Ray Fenix versus Nick Jackson. Oh, also I should say, last night was celebrating, which is so funny because that meant I watched the Cole video twice. Yes, Lashbrook. Some people just watched it twice. Some people during commercials watched the version they put on Twitter and then watched it again. I know someone that's like, yeah, I watched it 3 times. Or, I mean, I watched through it with bad audio and then watched it again with good audio. And I was like, okay, sure. And I will say, it was funny without the audio, but that weird song they played while they raced around, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. So we started with Ray Fenix defending the International Championship against #1 contender Nick Jackson. Nick has not had many singles matches in AEW, but he did fight Ray Fenix on the first episode of Dynamite, which was 4 years ago. So they were celebrating the 4-year anniversary by running back at least one match, which I think is fantastic. And also, this match whipped fucking ass. Ray Fenix did retain. It was like really fun back and forth. Fenix and Matt Jackson just have such beautiful, wonderful chemistry. And it was so awesome to have. And it was awesome. I know some people were like, nothing mattered and they didn't sell for shit. And it's like, yeah, all right, well, you're not going to like this match. I don't know what to tell you. I should say that wasn't actually the first thing that happened. The first thing that happened was Kenny and Jericho talking about the match they were going to have tonight. That happened. And then they were interrupted by Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge. And Renee was doing the interview, so there were 4 people backstage, all near each other, all from Canada, which is not wholly unique for Dynamite. There are certainly plenty of Canadians there, but that was weird. You know, and Kenny pretended like he hadn't met Edge before, which is a lie. They've met in person before and certainly met backstage on Sunday, but definitely acted like they hadn't met before, which is funny to me. Yeah, and that was pretty fun. Ray Fenix's Frog Splash. I want to shout out Ray Fenix's Frog Splash because it is underrated and should be much higher rated. It's a very good fucking Frog Splash. And then we had the Adam Cole vignette, which people couldn't hear. We cut back and Griff Garrison is standing in the ring. Griff Garrison, formerly of the Varsity Blondes, which then became just the Blondes when they, through legal action in kayfabe, lost their rights to Varsity. His tag team partner, Griff was out with injury, and then his tag team partner started tagging with someone else. Griff started tagging, Brian Pillman Jr. started tagging with Brock Anderson, the son of Arn Anderson, being managed by Arn Anderson. And then Brian's contract ended, and he is in NXT. He's got vignettes on NXT. So then Griff is just kind of doing whatever. Griff has been on Ring of Honor, I believe. He's had some matches on Ring of Honor. But tonight, in October, was his first AEW appearance. AEW proper. And his opponent was Wardlow. Wardlow came out and just powerbombed him to hell over and over again. As Lashbrook says, R.I.P. Griff Garrison, you had no chance in this match. They booked you to not have a chance in this match. You knew that coming into it. Wardlow powerbombed him to hell. He did not pin him. The referee stopped the match. So Wardlow won via ref stoppage, and then Wardlow hopped into the crowd and left and did not talk in the microphone, and therefore I can say confidently an excellent return for Wardlow. They ruin it when he talks. And that's such a weird thing to say, because Wardlow has done interviews out there, not on wrestling, but just, out there in the world, in the lead up to his TNT title wins and such like that. And he's funny and charming and likable. Wardlow seems like a good fucking dude and like a fun guy. And when he's on the microphone, he's just shouting catchphrases and yelling, and it's bad. It's Ryback bad. It's terrible. They book him as an idiot, but they're not trying to book him like an idiot, and it's awful. I was expecting him to return to Collision, but I hope that Wardlow does several months of just beating motherfuckers up, because I think that's going to be very good for Wardlow. Don't let him talk. They put him with Arn Anderson for a bit, and I thought that was pretty good, but there are other managers that could make Wardlow shine. I do think having someone to talk for him is probably the way to go, because at the very least, he is not comfortable saying the things they want him to say, and he doesn't seem to be, this is of course the conjecture, he does not seem to be confident enough to say, can I say this in my own words? And so that's obviously terrible. So hopefully he'll have something good going for him, because Wardlow fucking has a great body, and he can move in the ring, and he's fun, and he's a good heel and a good enough babyface. So we'll see. And then they watched the we watched the Adam Cole video again. Acclaimed versus Butcher, the Butcher and the Blade, and Kip Sabian. I feel like the Acclaimed have wrestled against Butcher and the Blade and or Kip Sabian a million times. I think that Max Caster's raps, he has run out of things to say about them. He did have a fun thing about how Kip was more over with a bag on his head, which is true, because they seem to be teasing the idea that Kip Sabian was going to beat Orange Cassidy early in the All-Atlantic run, not even the international title, when it was still the All-Atlantic title, they made it seem like they were building Kip to take that belt, and then they didn't. And I don't know why they didn't, because Kip Sabian is very smart, very good on the mic, a very fucking good wrestler, and fucking gorgeous. God damn. Instead, they had him on the pre-show for All In, because he's British. Also, when you have Kip Sabian, you have Penelope Ford, his wife and valet, and that is a fantastic duo. Holy shit! What I'm saying is, they gotta fucking heat up Kip Sabian. I would say that this match was like a long squash and should have been on Collision. Not even Collision. This match should have been on Rampage. So Rampage AEW dark ass match. I am ready for a trio to take the belts off the Acclaimed, and for the Acclaimed to either turn heel or for Billy Gunn to retire. Retire, but for real this time. Because I am sick. I want the Acclaim to be a tag team and Billy Gunn to be their manager or whatever. But I do not need to see him in the ring like this all the time. I just don't need to see it. It was fine. It was a fine match. Let's see. Bullet Club Gold had a real long promo that I thought was good. Building up MJF. I still don't think tofu is a good insult. The crowd seems to be doing it, getting into it mostly because they like MJF, but I don't think tofu is a good insult. Jericho and Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. Because Sammy was not cleared to wrestle, Don Callis was like, I'm trying someone out. I'm trying somebody out for the Don Callis family. There's going to be a new member, and we're just seeing what's happening. And, of course, that's implied that Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open and of the larger group, the United United Empire, which also includes Will Ospreay, who is part of the family. Turns out, because originally it was supposed to be Guevara again, but couldn't end up being that. Turns out Kyle was not actually the next member. The next member of it was motherfucking Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs is on Dynamite instead of Collision and is doing shit. Powerhouse Hobbs is part of the fucking family after a pretty okay match. You know, I don't need to see Jericho every week. I don't need to see Jericho with Kenny again, but sure. But yeah, holy shit. Holy fucking shit. It's cool as hell to see, like, to see Hobbs without that fucking book. The book of Hobbs was nothing, and then it went away, and then they brought it back, which made me think, like, oh, Hobbs is done. They brought back a terrible gimmick because they gave up on the new gimmick. Oh, God. The new gimmick being he's hanging out with QTV, which is not great, but was something. Was weird to have a match set up for their next pay-per-view, like right after one that just happened. Yes, Lashbrook, it is weird for AEW to set up pay-per-view. Like, they have weeks to set up Full Gear, and they did it immediately, and that is very unlike AEW. AEW likes to book most of their pay-per-view the week before or the night before. It is very strange that they started booking their main event now, and they have weeks to build on it. It's wild that they're doing that. It's very, I don't know, any other fucking wrestling company, but not AEW. AEW doesn't roll that way, and I applaud them for rolling that way. I know what the main event is for a pay-per-view in November for AEW. That's wild for them. It's huge. Anyway, this match was great. Also, at some time tonight, I can't remember when it happened, there was a whole thing with Orange Cassidy being mad that Jon Moxley has a title match next week. He didn't get a rematch for his title, but Moxley does. The thing you have to remember, Lashbrook, is that MJF, you can trick MJF. That's his big Achilles heel. MJF doesn't want to defend his title, but you can goad him into doing it. It's not even that he has a friend in Adam Cole. MJF consistently, his kink in his armor is that you can tease him into agreeing to a match. Heel or face. He did it as a heel. He got goaded into doing an Iron Man match with Bryan Danielson. Why would he do an Iron Man match? He doesn't want to wrestle for an hour, but he agreed to do it. You can goad him into doing it. That is an MJF character trait for the entire length of his character run. But yeah, OC is mad. I don't think we're going to get an OC heel run, but I do think that we could get OC versus Phoenix, where OC gets a little rough. We're gonna take a pause for the calls in just a moment. I'm just gonna say Tony Storm fucking rules. Tony Storm is one of the best parts of AEW. Tony Storm, it technically was the main event because it was the main event match. So I'm gonna give that on a technicality. Timeless Tony Storm is an incredible gimmick. It is great. I profess I have not always gotten Tony Storm and what her fucking deal is. I've not always been a Tony Storm mark, but I love this gimmick. I love this like weird broken actress thing. I think it is the idea that she does not recognize who her opponent is, even though they have matches. She did not recognize who Paul Turner is. She's had matches where he's been the referee. Like the idea that she is just in her own little world is fantastic. We are lucky to have Tony Storm in AEW doing such a weird gimmick. We're very lucky. Now that I've finished knolling, we're going to get started on the spaceship after the pause for the cause. All right. If you are currently a subscriber to the Bill Bear Workshop, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Let the people know that you are a subscriber. Subscribing is the easiest way to help me do what I do here. I'm going to talk about ways you can support me that are all optional. You don't have to do any of these. But if you want to help me out, you're more than welcome to. But being a subscriber is the easiest way to help me out. Like Ghost Valve and Harold, who subscribed tonight and renew their subscription. You could subscribe. You could gift a sub. You could join the gift sub leaderboard. Right now, nobody has gifted a sub. So if you want to be the top of the gift sub leaderboard, you could do that with a gifted sub. Or you could use Amazon Prime to become a subscriber that way. You could also cheer like Harold did. Bits and coins are always appreciated. There are other ways to support me, despite the fact that Patreon redesigned their site in a way that fucking sucks for me to use as a person that runs a Patreon. You could go over to patreon.com/PatBear and become a subscriber at the $1, $3, or $5, or $10 tier. The site is not that bad for you. It's bad for me, but it's not that bad for you as a user. So if you wanted to, you could jump in there. I would say I would love to have you if you want to get in there. I have a YouTube channel. You go to youtube.com/PatBear. Obviously, subscribing is free. But if you want to become a member over on youtube.com/PatBear, you could do that anytime you want. Everything I make through YouTube and Patreon and Twitch goes into a fund, and I buy model kits and equipment with money from that fund, which also is direct donations, because those are monthly ways to support me. But if you want to support me just, on a one-time deal, you could at Coffee or Stream Elements or PayPal, and that also goes into fund, and I buy model kits with that. The Lego set that I am currently working on right now came from my backlog. I've got a backlog of kits. I got some model kits and some Lego sets over there that I will be happy to build at any time of day. But if you specifically want to know, you want to decide what I build next, there's a way to do that. Go to my Amazon wish list and buy a model kit or a Lego set or something, and I will build it on stream next. It'll be the next thing that I build. It becomes the priority one. So if you want to do that, you can go to my Amazon list. I've got inexpensive kits, expensive kits, kits that are constantly on sale, kits that, like, you know, every once in a while drop in price. Today, I want to mention the gun tank is currently under $19 with free Prime shipping. I would love to build a gun tank. I've built the gun tank early type, but never the actual regular old gun tank, the blue and red and gold friend. But yeah, I got Lego sets. I got model kits. I've got knockoff Lego sets. The Fast and Furious Nissan Skyline GTR is dropped in price. That's $20 right now. That's a good deal. But yeah, if you see something there that you'd like me to build, you can buy it off there. It'll come to me. I will build it again, make a dedicated video for YouTube, and then also it'll jump the queue and become the next thing that I build. So see if there's something there that you'd like to see me put together, and pick it up off my wish list if you want to. It's optional. You don't have to do that. I have a Throne wish list, which is my alternative to Amazon because some people just don't want to use Amazon, and I respect it and understand it. So I got that. And then you could always go to USA Gundam Store, buy a gift card to USA Gundam Store. You get an email with the gift card code. Then send me a whisper on Twitch or a DM on Twitter with that gift card code. And I will use that gift card code to buy something from USA Gundam Store, which I will build. And again, it'll jump the queue and you get a dedicated video. If you want to hang out and support me for free, I got a Discord. You can join my Discord if you'd like. You're welcome there. Would love to have you over there on Discord. A couple of video links for you to check out. On Monday, I'll have a new episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club, but currently, my current episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club that I think you should check out is me talking about the new season, which we're going to get into a couple shows from that season tonight. And then Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series where every week I do my best to write and perform a comedy piece that I have rehearsed some amount. And this one was a idea that I kind of said, oh, I don't think I'm going to do it. And then I ended up doing it because I thought the premise was really strong. It's set up like a Instagram or a TikTok video is a vertical video. I have found out how to do vertical videos in a way that looks good. So I made that. But it is like set up like a, tell me something that you thought was real, but turns out isn't. And then I get into my feelings on a subject that I think is not real, which is it's for comedic value. It's a fun little bit of business. I thought it turned out pretty good. So if you wanted to, you could check that video out. Oops, I just clicked on the link by mistake. And not a lot of people have watched that video yet, so maybe you'll be one of them. I thought it turned out great. And like I said, I now can do vertical videos pretty easily, so that's fun. All right, so I'm going to talk about 3 anime shows here in a second. I'm going to drink more water. I've been drinking lots of water here because it is warm in this house. So I have been consuming some water here, but I'm going to drink a little water in a dramatic fashion. We'll change back to the overhead, and then we'll get into working on a spaceship right now. Oof. Turns out I was pretty thirsty, everybody. All right. Anime. I am going to break from tradition, and I'm going to go out of order. I normally go in order. And so I would do episode 13 of Helck. I would talk about the first episode of Bullbuster, a new show. And I would talk about the first episode of the Yuzuki family's 4 sons. Here's the problem. You may have seen me talk about this on Twitter. You may have seen other people talk about this on Twitter. I can't tell you enough about the Yuzuki family's 4 sons because I did not finish the first episode. Now, often, if I did not finish the first episode of something, I would just go, yeah, I didn't really like it, whatever, and move on. I want to like this show. This show is preventing me from liking it. I'll explain what it is, and then I'll explain why it was impenetrable and I could not keep watching it. This is a slice of life. It's about 4 brothers of various age. The oldest is, I believe, out of high school. The youngest is in elementary school. These four brothers lost their parents a few years ago. They lost both of them at the same time. And this is a slice of life that is light in some aspects and sad in others, of them just trying to remain together as a family and make it work in the highs and lows, and kind of explore each of them and how they're fitting in with their lives, which is a fun premise. So you might be saying to yourself, well, Pat, what went wrong? Is it just like a bad adaptation? And in a way, yes. So if you're watching a show on that's subtitled, right? Subtitled in various languages. There are primarily two ways. Sorry, let's say there are three ways that it gets translated. That a show gets translated in subtitles. One is the streaming service, the company, has an in-house team, and they work remote or work in there, and they assign people or a person a show. Sometimes shows have one person. Sometimes shows have multiple people working on different episodes with like a guide. And that's one way. Another way is that studio, the company, in this case Crunchyroll, that company has freelancers that do work that are a low priority, right? A show that because some shows get licensed just because the show is going to be cool and they think it'll be great. And some shows get licensed because it's a package deal. And it's not something they particularly care super strongly about, but they wanted another thing, so they got that together. That's why Railroad-esque, nobody has it this season, but previously it was on both Funimation and Crunchyroll, because it was like you had to pick up Railroad-esque if you wanted another show. So that's why Railroad-esque ended up there. But season 2, nobody's picked up because those deals have changed. As far as I can tell, that is the situation with that show. I gotta find this. I need one of these, and then I need this piece. I need the other of this piece. So I gotta dig around here because I've separated by color, but I haven't really sorted by color. Anyway, the third way is the studio that made the anime has a deal with a distributor, and that distributor talks with the various streaming services. Various streaming services around the world, television in some instances in certain countries, and they say, we will provide you with a video file that has subtitles in various languages, and you air that. Our back and forth says, this is what you need, you can do it. So either Crunchyroll, one of three possibilities happened with the Yuzuki family's 4 sons. 1, Crunchyroll's, the person they assigned to it, shit the bed, scammed them, fucked around, used machine learning, and did a piss poor job, and Crunchyroll received the file and didn't do quality control on it, didn't look at it, didn't hold the episode to fix it, and just went, well, we got scammed, we'll get it right next time. That's a possibility. 2, the person they subcontracted that is not a regular Crunchyroll employee, that they did because this wasn't a big deal and they don't care about it, fucked them over again. 3, Crunchyroll knowingly had bad subtitles. The least likely possibility. Now, certainly, sometimes they've gotten localization weird or wrong. There was a time in a show I remember where there was a guy named Levy that became Revy. The person who was doing the translation made a judgment call. They had apparently, before the episode went out, before they were able to contact their person in Japan about that, they decided to go a different way. 2 episodes later, he had his name different, or maybe Revy and then became Levy. Whatever, that happens on occasion. They fuck up, but this is a catastrophic failure Most likely, in my opinion, it is option 4, which goes into part 3 of how you get a show subtitled, which is the studio who is distributing, not even the creators of it, the studio is distributing the Yuzuki Family's 4 Sons, cheaped out on translation and demanded that Crunchyroll run, because that's part of their contract, sub-poor translations, because it doesn't matter, and Crunchyroll will take the heat, because everyone's like, I can't believe Crunchyroll has fallen so low, and they say Crunchyroll. They don't say Sony. I haven't said Sony this whole time. I haven't said Sony's anime streaming service, Crunchyroll, has shit the bed. I don't think it was Crunchyroll. I don't think someone fucked over Crunchyroll and they didn't have anyone look at it and go, wait, what the fuck? I fully believe that this was that somebody who licensed this thing to Crunchyroll did paid for the translations and didn't do quality control, or they don't care that they're bad. Now, I've done all this, I've front-loaded all this stuff to talk about how shitty it was, and I need to give you examples, right? I must give you some examples of how this fucked up, because some of it is localization issues, because it is clearly done with machine learning. This is sent through AI support. Somebody has the script and ran it through AI to translate the script into English. Though that's what it was, Lord Crashington. This is not Crunchyroll using AI to translate. This is machine learning. As someone that reads a lot of scanlation, I can tell you I'm a pretty good eye for machine learning translation that doesn't go through someone double checking grammar or looking at or making it try to be natural. I've read a lot of Chinese Mandarin, simplified Mandarin to English translations that are done on a machine with an app, and there's no human oversight over it, stuck over on dialogue and sent out in bulk for Mawa. And that's what I believe is here. I believe that this was machine learning, which you could call AI, but often we say MLT, machine learning translation, using artificial intelligence, actually more than some people would, some of the ways we say AI, it's maybe actually closer to that, but it's machine learning. It's terrible, and it needs a human touch. This is not going to human touch. Here are some examples where I do not believe that this had any human oversight. All right, here's some examples. What you are doing is a carcinogen. Now, if anyone was directly translating that, they would look at it and go, "Oh, you mean you're being cancerous, or you're a cancer." They would not translate a person who understands the English language would not have a young adult tell, or a 20-something tell a teenager, what you are doing is a carcinogen. I do not believe that is a line of dialogue in a slice of life. Here are other examples. Sir Yuzuki is obviously only 23 years old. Now, if you are localizing a show into English, you know that this must have said Yuzuki-san, because it's a coworker. They must have said Yuzuki-san, which directly machine learned translated would come out as Sir Yuzuki. But an employee at a employee in Japan would not call him Sir. They might even say Mr., but they wouldn't say Sir. And then there's the grammar mistakes, the literal translations that fuck up, because of course they fuck up when you are doing this without any oversight and without any care. You get things like, "We're always thanks to Nikaido." Nikaido being a friend of theirs in school. "We're always thanks to Nikaido." We're always thankful for Nikaido. Certainly, it's what they meant to say. And, of course, you make me trouble every time. You're always causing me troubles. You're always causing me to worry. You make things difficult every time. You always make trouble. There's any way, number of ways of making that feel generous and nice. Those are just 4 examples because I could not keep... I stopped watching this 5 minutes in. Maybe even less than 5 minutes in. Those are all from the first 5 minutes of this episode, which was animated fine. Looks like a cool story. I've heard good things about this series. Now, do I think that Crunchyroll will fix this? I actually don't know. I don't know if Crunchyroll cares that one of their a dozen shows, because High Dive, I think, only has 3 new shows this season. Crunchyroll has so much new stuff that they could just put this out and not care. Because I don't know if this is getting a dub. Now, if it does get a dub, the dub is going to need... The dub, we'll find out. If the dub is like if that's being done by Crunchyroll or a third-party company, like, we'll find out. Now, this kind of dialogue, like, what you are doing is a carcinogen, or Sir Yuzuki is obviously only 23 years old. But he has the temperament of a... I believe the next part of the line was temperament of a father in his 40s. Again, this is not dialogue that seems accurate to a human being saying of that age that was saying it. But it's possible that if I was reading this on a scanlation site, because I read some stuff that is done. It's not done for profit, but it is done for like exposure and the hope that people will donate, and then also that people will read it on a site that serves ads. I never see those ads, so sorry, friends. I never see your fucking ads. But maybe some other people read them on their phones and see all your bullshit ads and hear the radio playing in the background, and they don't have a way to mute the radio thing that you built in. But I figured out how to stop that by just having it so pages don't load automatically, videos and audio. So I don't have to hear your fucking bullshit radio playing where you get like pennies for plays or whatever it is that you're doing. Anyway, I'm used to looking at something that is clearly done with machine learning translation and not run. I mean, hell, I used to watch that a Babelfish translated anime, right? I used to watch stuff that was translated from Japanese to Chinese, and then a tool translated it from Chinese to English, and then put the subtitles there. I used to watch those. I used to get those DVDs that were like 10 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they said, where they called him Duel or Dark, because Yami Yugi, Dark Game, they would call him Dark Game, because they literally translated his name, or Initial D or whatever. Like I watched those with their bad terrible subtitles. The difference is this is Crunchyroll. They're owned by Sony. They're a multinational corporation that does this as their job. They're not some random group of a couple people that are just putting out as much garbage as possible, hoping to make ad revenue from it. And they're chasing, and they're like hiding from cease and desist, and they're hoping that they don't put up a group that understands what they're doing and sends a cease and desist to their web servers, and like gets their fucking shit taken down. That Cloudflare will be like, oh wait, what are they doing? Yeah, they don't have a license to this. Get this shit out of here. And they're hoping they can like trick the aggregator sites to get to not fuck with them. Those people, that's one thing, but they're not Crunchyroll. This is embarrassing for Crunchyroll, in my opinion. It's fucking embarrassing. You make me trouble every time. Yeah, you make me trouble every time. You added a comma there, Lord Crashington, and there wasn't even a comma. It was "you make me trouble" every time. The U was capitalized at least. The Y and capitalized in U. So at least there was that. It's as I said, it's fucking embarrassing. And I don't know if the show is good. I can't tell you. I would love to know. Anyway, that's fucking Yuzuki family's four sons. We're going to go backwards through up here. Let's go to Bullbuster. Hey, guess what? I liked the first episode of a mecha series. I'm so happy to say that. Is it great? Nah. Is it funnier than I would have expected? Yes. It's a sitcom with mechs. It's not a full sitcom, but it is a situation with comedy. It's a workplace anime about a pest control company, which you could put in parentheses, parentheticals there, that have to fight beasts. There's an island that is overrun with beasts, and a bunch of companies exist to defeat those beasts in order to make it so that someday the island could be inhabited again. It's in the near future, and this is a Ryugan island. There's giant beasts, and the population had to leave. And then there's these companies that come in, like Namidome Industries, who are definitely down on their luck. And in fact, just recently, their mech, Bull Rover, which was the name of that mech, unfortunately, that mech was, they had to abandon it. And the mechs in this show, we'll talk about, like, stylistically how things work and all that. But I'll just say, give you know, the look of it, design of it. They're going for not like space travel, cool robots in space, humanoid robots in space. They're looking at like construction. Like, hey, we got these giant monsters we got to fight, but also when that's done, we could use this to move equipment. And it doesn't look like a military operation. This is not personalized military vehicles. This is modified, just fucking like modified industrial equipment is the vibe they're going with. So we've got Okino, who is transferred to their Okino just is a salesman, and he's an inventor trying to sell his product. He made the next line of mechs. He made the next generation of mechs called Bullbuster. Name of the show is the name of his mech. And it's much more of an upright, it's much more closer to like what Ripley used, kind of a thing of like construction, but still maneuvers around, but like will do more things. It's got weaponry on it. Anyway, he wanted to be a pilot for this stuff. Like that's kind of was his dream, but instead he's basically a salesman. So he shows up to do some training. He meets a bunch of the characters. A giant beast shows up, and then Okino's like, all right, well, let's go. And they're like, actually, you need to sign this contract. And we're probably going to learn more about that later. And there's some goofiness where he like gets ready to pilot, and he sets up a camera to record himself like he's a streamer. I don't think he's live streaming. I think he's just recording himself. And that's just like a fun little thing. But he's like ready to go, and they're like, wait. You got to sign this paperwork first. And everybody's slow, and there's like, we're meeting some characters, and there's like the bald guy who is gruff but seems like he actually cares, and the young lady who is tough but cool. Yeah, there's Muto and Nikaido, and they're like, okay, you go and try to find the beast with your, and go around. We're going to try to repair the Bull Rover, our old gear, because we think we figured out what went wrong with it and why we abandoned it. And then the beast attacks them, though, and he's like trying to chase them, and they're trying to run away, and they're in trouble, and he's not particularly the best pilot in the world, but he built it, so he knows how it works. And basically, everybody has to work together, and they defeat The Beast. The episode ends with them defeating the Beast. They did it. The mechs and now we'll talk technical. That's the overview of the episode. Some good action. The Beasts. We only saw one Beast. The Beast and the two mechs in the series are, of course, CGI. No way to get around it. They're CGI. Everything else is digital. And in fact, when you see the pilots inside the vehicle, there is a digital animated character inside the CGI vehicle. They don't, thank fucking God, they don't make a CGI model of the digital character to put in there. They don't make the mistakes that some series do because they don't have the money to figure out how to have CGI characters interact with digital. They cheat a little bit by having them like just kind of there and it looking a little bad. It looks a little bad. It doesn't look great, but it's fun and it looks fine. I think the more monsters I see, the more I will maybe like not be as into it. But right now I am totally into it. I think it is a great choice, a great silly choice. Yeah, it looks like construction equipment turned into fighting machines. The story, as I said, is way goofier and really feels like it is a... obviously, there are monsters, and they're fighting monsters in mechs. But really, the series feels like it is a workplace series. Like, you know, a little bit of a situational comedy. But mostly it is like a drama... a drama with a little comedy elements, a dramedy about small business owners trying to survive in a unfortunate situations and like people coming together to work together to make things work. And that I was not expecting. Bullbuster has way more heart than I would have imagined, and I can recommend it. I think if you are out there looking for a mech series. Is this Gundam Wing? No. Is this Witch from Mercury? No. Is this a good mech series in 2023? Yeah. This is a perfectly fine mech series. I don't think it's going to, I don't know if they're going to make figures for it. If they do, I don't know if they'll be reasonably priced and available anywhere, or even like show up in the US market. I have no idea how Bullbuster is going to do, but I can tell you that I was very happy to watch this episode and that I will be watching episode 2. So yeah, I recommend Bullbuster. I don't think it's for everyone, but if you're watching if you're watching Build with Baer Workshop with me, your friend Pat, like, I don't know, I feel like you probably want to check out episode 1. Hell, you might have already watched episode 1. I finished this kit. I'm definitely going to have to run a poll, friends, because I just finished the second of this. I got the space shuttle done. So we'll get brick separated and get ready for the spaceman, who will be the next thing that we build. But yeah, this is obviously going to finish this early on Saturday's build and then get started with something else. But I don't even know what else we'll do. I have enough time to tell you about Helck once I take a photo of this, and then we'll just knoll and get ready. We probably won't build the spaceman tonight, but we'll get ready to work on the spaceman. The astronaut, I should say, instead of spaceman. Spaceman makes it sound like I've got an elephant. It's a pretty sick spaceship. This spaceship is cool, Ashbrook. Yeah, I think this is cool as hell. I think both of these builds were really fun. I look forward to the spaceman. But now I got to take this whole thing apart and properly knoll. We'll also we'll do a proper knoll to make my life easier for the astronaut. And I guess we'll get ready for the astronaut here. Get the man going here, and then. Oops, what happened here? There it is. There we go. We got the man. We'll get that going. Helck, So this is episode 13. This is a 24 episode series, I believe. So we're in the second half. This episode is one long ass flashback. And it's not even the flashback shit that I want to see. Because it's about Helck and his younger brother. His younger brother who defeats the Demon Lord and then Helck kills. And I want to know what the fuck happened there. And I think we're not going to find out until episode 14. Is there a minifig to go inside the astronaut? No, Lord Crashington. 3-in-1s don't come with minifigs. So there is not a minifig to pilot this spaceman. Yeah, 3-in-1s do not ever have that. Most of the vehicles you could fit a minifig in, but sometimes they don't work right because they are not designed properly to be like a 2-seater. All right, so we'll just pop off what we can here. Get these separated. We're just going to separate some parts. So, episode 13 of Helck, we just learned a lot. Okay, so his younger brother is named Kless. I think we didn't know. We might not have known that before. Kless and Helck, their parents died, and everyone else in their village died to monsters, and they went to the royal capital to find work. Turns out the royal capital is full of a lot of fucking bullshit. A lot of people who look down on poor folks. So Helck gets beat up a lot trying to protect Kless, but he's awoken his powers at a young age, and he has regenerating powers. So even though he's not super strong, he can regenerate from taking a beating. So he'll get beat up so that his brother doesn't, because his brother is sickly. Vermilio thinks maybe he was born with them. Anyway, at a certain point, Kless is severely sick. Even though Helck has money, people won't help him because he's poor and from the slums. And in fact, the fact that he has money because he's been saving money from doing jobs, people think he stole it. So Helck is like, I guess we have to leave. We're going to have to take our chances, try to find another place to live and get treatment. They manage to find a young noblewoman. What is her name? She's part of the Rehearsed family. Let's see. Shalami. Shalami is the name of the girl. Her dad takes Helck and Kless in, and they are part of the Night Order. And apparently, 15 years later, Kless is captain of the 3rd Infantry Regime. So he's part of the Royal Knights. Helck, even though he is very strong, is not interested in fighting. He's much more, he's like, nah, I got a big bulky body for construction. I'm not a hero. He doesn't think he's a hero. He recognizes that Kless could work his way up into being nobility, and that he could get together because he clearly has a crush on Shalami. The brothers don't really spend a lot of time together, we find out in this episode, because of Kless's position. He's going out on an expedition, and he's like, when we get home, let's have a home-cooked meal with just the two of us. And Helck tells Vermilio at the end of the episode that meal didn't happen because something forced him to leave. Helck had to leave his home so they don't get to go have food. I do not believe that is the murder thing. I think that something happens while Kless is gone that makes Helck leave the capital. Don't know what that is. We will find out in the future, I am sure. So this episode was one giant flashback. I imagine this was probably 2 or 3 chapters of the manga and must have annoyed people that this flashback took so many chapters. It's not even over yet. And none of it was funny. This show had some humor in the beginning, and I feel like it was a bait and switch because the humor is pretty absent from the show. It occasionally shows up. For the most part, it is just not around, and that's a bummer that we just don't get the good fun elements to it. I'm still honestly, I'm gonna be real honest with you, friends. Part of the reason why I'm still watching Helck is because it's the only show on High Dive that I watch, and I'm justifying, like, I already paid, just the way things worked out, I already have it for all of October. I think mine renewed on like October 2nd. So I'm paying for it. I might as well watch it because I don't know if I'm going to continue watching this next month and in the month after and go through the whole series. I haven't canceled High Dive yet because I'm watching that and there's nothing else that they have coming up. I mean, maybe the Demon Academy or Demon at the Academy. There's a show that seems kind of okay, but yeah, High Dive doesn't really have anything for me this season that I really want to watch. So I'm kind of like just watching whatever they got, So I'm kind of justifying like, oh, I should watch Helck. Also, because I did not enjoy the first like 10, 15 minutes of the second episode of I raised my daughter's in S rank coming home. I forget the full title. I just I wasn't digging it while I watched it. And so I decided that I'm dropping that series. I thought the first episode was fine. Let me find the full title for you. My daughter left the nest and returned an S-rank adventurer. By the halfway through episode 2, still has not returned to the nest. I know she does because I read the manga. I think I didn't love the manga, and so maybe that's why I'm not I'm not drawn to watching it. I can tell you about what we've got coming up. I am going to watch for Saturday. I will be watching Frieren Beyond Journey's End, episodes 3 and 4, because they put out 4 episodes last week, so I got to watch more of them so I can talk about them. I Shall Survive Using Potions, which is one of 2 girls doing things shows that seemed very cute, and so I want to give that a watch. Damn it! How am I gonna separate these? Maybe I can separate them like this. I can do it like that. Oh yeah, this might work. Nope, that didn't work yet. I gotta get these 2 separated. I'm trying to do it using the wedge, either from the bottom or the top. There we go, got it. And now I just have to separate these 2, which will be easier. Hooray, we did it. Spy Family Season 2. Let me ask you, friends, would you like me to do reviews of the Season 2 of Spy Family? I did Part 1 and 2 of Season 1. I usually don't do Season 2s. Like, I'm not going to do Season 2 of the Saint's Magic Powers of Omnipotent, which I think is a fantastic show, and I'm enjoying. I usually don't do that. But I think Spy Family is a show that at least some of you will also be watching, so we can do that. So I think I'm going to do that. And then I might be covering My New Boss is Goofy, because that premise is fun. A guy that worked at a black company is scared that he finally got the courage to quit his job, and he got a new job, and he's afraid that his new boss is going to be just as bad. And it turns out his new boss is a goof. And that sounds like a fun, low-pressure show, so I'm going to watch that. And then I believe it's available, and I believe it will be subtitled, in celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Gundam Build franchise. Gundam Build Metaverse is going to be on the YouTube channel, and I believe it will be subtitled, and I don't know if I'm going to watch the first episode of that or not. So I know that Frieren Beyond Journey's End, I Shall Survive Using Potions, My New Boss is Goofy, probably going to watch those. Might cover episode 2 or episode 1 of season 2 of Spy Family. Again, haven't quite decided if I'm going to do that or not. And then maybe Gundam Build Metaverse. And then I know for Sunday, Monday, I'm going to see if Zom 100 is back. I don't know if Zom 100 is coming back or not. Supposedly, episodes 10, 11, and 12 are going to happen, but question mark when. So we might not see those. So I would like to see that. And I'm going to watch The Family Circumstances of the Irregular Witch, because I really like the first episode of that. So I'm going to watch episode 2 of that. I am going to watch Stardust Telepath. Stardust Telepath is about a girl that feels like an alien until she meets a girl who says that she is an alien. Not the girl who feels like, The girl that feels like an alien meets a girl who claims that she herself is an alien. And that is a Girls Doing Things show. And we did not get many of those in 2023, so I will watch that along with the Potions show because you know I'm a stickler for that. Oh, you're not sure what this season will be adapting in Spy Family, but you're going to watch the only show you know you'll watch so far. So Lashbrook. Lashbrook, I say watch the first episode of Bullbuster that I just talked about tonight. I think Bullbuster, you might dig that. That might be something that you want to watch. I would recommend checking it out. Knowing what I know of you via, communication and in this way. I think you might be into Bullbuster. But yeah, Season 2 Spy Family. There's a lot of Season 2 stuff I'm watching, so of course more Jujutsu Kaisen and all that. But I usually don't cover Season 2s because there's a portion of the audience that didn't see Season 1. It's already bad enough that I start talking about shows that, I'm like episode 9 of or something, but, I hopefully do a good enough job to at least explain what's going on. We have a little time left in the stream. I want to hear from you. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What are you enjoying? What's got you going? What's making you happy? Gaming wise, or watching TV or movies or anime? What are you watching this anime season that you're like, oh, Pat, my favorite shows this season are this, and this. Let me know what you're liking. I want to hear from you as I just do some knolling. Basically, I didn't want to start the Spaceman, which we'll just build in completion on Saturday. But I'm just getting some parts knolled together to make my life easier. But while I'm doing that, I want to hear from you. I'm playing Hearthstone. I had a fucking killer run today. I think I had like 6 wins in a row. Between both Standard and Wild today in Hearthstone. Like, I had a great fucking afternoon playing Hearthstone. It whipped ass. Also did some work, as I said, so I didn't, do a lot of play. I watched the anime that I'm talking about here. I watched the first episode of Season 2 of The Saint's Magic Powers and Omnipotent, and, it was fun. It's a good... This one, the drama hasn't shown up yet, really. It was mostly like a setup of some new characters and how the status quo has changed from one season to the next as more people come to understand that she's the Saintess, which I think is fine that that's there. It led to some, not much love in this one either, but, a good episode. So, happy with that. Last week finished up Ashoka, which was okay, so I started a rewatch of Andor before I canceled Disney Plus and Hulu because of the price hikes. Yeah, there's a lot of price hikes coming in. There's some show that's on Hulu that I wanted to see. I can't remember what it was. I'm going to look up it. There's one show that I definitely would like to watch that turns out that I was amped and ready to watch, but turns out it's on High Dive, or not High Dive, it's on Hulu. And so I'm not going to watch it, and I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was that. 16-Bit Sensation is something I might check out as well. That episode that aired on Wednesday, and I didn't watch it. I don't remember what it is, but there's something that looked neat that I believe starts airing this weekend that was Hulu only, and so I'm not going to watch it. I don't expect to watch Goblin Slayer during the season. Oh, Undead Unluck. That's what it was. It's Undead Unluck is I wonder if people liked 16-bit Sensation Another Layer. I don't know. Undead Unluck is a manga I've never gotten into, but I've heard very good things. People like it a lot. That apparently is a Hulu show, so I have not I don't have Hulu right now. So I do not... Undead Unluck is a show that I had plans to watch, but cannot watch because I don't have Hulu. And I'm not going to get Hulu for one TV show. In the future, it's on my list, right? Because at some point, I watched a bunch of Bleach because I had Hulu for 1 month. I would like to go back and watch more of Bleach because I'm hearing that right now in Bleach, we're getting into stuff that is straying from the manga, which sounds most of the time, oh no, that's a red flag. In this case, in the case of Bleach, straying from the manga to tighten things up and to make more sense and like flush some ideas out sounds fucking fantastic. Lashbrooks, it says, I'm still reading Undead Unluck, but mostly out of inertia. Probably won't check out the anime. Yeah, there you go. Like I said, I don't have Hulu, but if you're looking for things to watch on Hulu, that might be worth it. Lord Crashington played a bit of My Hero Ultra Rumble, the MMA Battle Royale. I'm okay with some rough edges, and I haven't found a main I like, so I don't know if I'll play much more. Lots of, it has some rough edges. Lots of gacha to unlock other characters in a battle pass, restarting the show on Hulu to watch instead. Yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, I like My Hero. Maybe I'll check out this video game. Maybe I'll just watch My Hero Academia instead. Just like watch the tournament, just watch these school festival arcs and have fun. Watch them use their powers, get introduced to Class B or 1B and learn about some of those weirdos. Like the girl with Vine powers who is clearly into Jesus, but they don't really say it, but she's very much a fucking weirdo Christian. I'm still reading Undead. Oh, no, you said that. Aristfan said, I just started up Ask Creed Mirage. It's pretty cool so far. I finished up Ashoka, which was good for the Star Wars fan who's not too into the animated stuff. Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to be honest with you, friends. I didn't know that Mirage came out or was coming out until today when I tuned into Nextlander and they were talking about it, like, right over my head. No idea. Had not heard any buzz. My friends hadn't been talking about it. Streamers that I watch hadn't been talking about, like, getting it. If Nextlander hadn't covered it, I wouldn't know that it's out. Just no idea. Had no idea that there was a fucking new one. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up. I'm putting stuff back in the box because I'm going to resort everything, and then I just don't want Lego out for 2 days. That's how you lose Lego, is just to have it on my table for 2 days. So I'll just reset everything up on Saturday before the stream starts. You thought Forza was today? Oh, no, yeah, Forza's early. I think Forza's pay money to have early access. I don't remember. But anyway, we're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank... sorry. Fish says, Pat, first time but long time, started One Piece. Didn't know but needed the whole wholesomeness. Yeah. Enjoy One Piece. There's a lot. The great thing about starting One Piece is there's a lot of it. There's so much One Piece to enjoy. If you're going to watch live action, you get at a much faster pace. If you watch the anime, you get to watch You get to watch a show go from 4:3 to 16:9. And there are only so many shows that do that go from like old school, early attempts at digital animation to modern digital. There's only so many shows that like live that long. You could just watch people get better at it. And then yes, in the early days of 16:9, they didn't redo the flashbacks, so the flashbacks were still in 4:3 because they just reused the animation instead of redrawing it 16:9, which to me, that's a money-saving decision and also a stylistic choice, because in the past it was 4:3 and it would feel fake if it was 16:9. Later they do flashbacks by 16:9, but whatever. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up. I hope you had a good time here. I appreciate first time, long times. I appreciate people that haven't been, like come here and just lurk and hang out and feel like jumping in, or they've known that I've been streaming for years and they just got around to it. I appreciate it. And of course, all my goddamn regulars. Thank you to all my goddamn regulars for your continued support. It means a lot to me. We're going to raid. That is how we end the streams around here. My brain froze for a second on that, and I don't know why. For a second there, I was like, what are we going to do now? And I was like, oh, yeah, we raid. We're going to find someone doing cool stuff out there that we want to go hang out with. That's always my goal, is to find people doing cool stuff. When did this start? We were talking about anime. Oh, Beach isn't going for 3 hours. Okay, we're not doing that. Beach, Derry, my contemporary over at Loading Ready Run, he does his anime roundup, which is very similar to my wrap-up preview, but he's been doing it for 3 hours. We're not going to go rate him because I don't know when he's going to finish up. He's probably very close to finishing up. So instead, who have we not rated in a while? PAX Australia is happening, but it doesn't say what, they don't update it, so I don't know what's happening with PAX Australia. I could just check the main, let's see what the main theater is. Let's see. Oh, if I highlight it, it'll tell me what's going on. I think that's funny. Let's just fucking, hey, you know what? Let's go check in with PAX Australia. My buddy Chris is on stage right now, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, Jerry and Chris are on stage because Mike doesn't do PAXs anymore. So I guess we're gonna fucking raid PAX Australia. That just seems like a fun idea. That's a silly idea. So we're gonna go on a raid. Feel free to come along on this raid. Here's some Q&As from Jerry from Penny Arcade and from Chris Straub, personal friend of mine. Good man, Chris Straub. Jerry's fine, but we've never hung out. Chris and I have hung out. We have sweatily eaten food really quickly to get back to work on many occasions. So we'll go on a raid. Come back on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. It'll be fucking fun. I'll finish some Lego. I'm going to start something new. I got to do a poll tomorrow to figure that out. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.